We're going to change the oil on a 2016 VW Golf Sportwagen. This should be very similar to other Mark 7 or 7th generation VWs with the same 1.8 liter motor. First, we're going to spin off the oil filler cap, then we're going to pop off this engine cover so we can get access to the oil filter housing. We're going to remove that oil filter housing and filter and just set it aside for now. We want to let some air get into the top of the motor before we drain the oil from the bottom. With everything opened up top, we can drain the oil from the bottom. Couple surprises here. Number one, you don't need to remove the splash guard like the previous generations of VWs. Huge kudos to the German engineer that designed that. Second, the oil pan is plastic. I suspect that's why they don't need to cover it with a splash guard, because that thing's not going to rust out. Lastly, the drain bolt in that plastic oil pan is also plastic. Seems kind of flimsy. It's just like this weird single-turn plastic plug with an O-ring on it. You remove it with a screwdriver. Really weird, but I have to admit I think it's kind of genius. Okay, well, we let that oil drain. Let's go back to our oil filter. Yank the old dirty filter and grab your replacement. By the way, at the time of this oil change, only one of my local auto parts stores, AutoZone, actually had a filter that would fit this vehicle, and they wanted $22 for it. So I wound up getting this Volkswagen factory replacement from VWPartsVortex.com for just $8. Slide the new filter back into the housing, apply a little pressure to make sure it seats correctly. You'll hear a click when it's in place. Now, if the replacement filter came with a replacement O-ring, and it usually does, we're going to replace that now, pull off that old O-ring. I'm using just adult tweezers here to pull it off. We'll pull the new O-ring on, get a little bit of new oil on your fingers so you can lube up that new O-ring so it seats properly, and then we'll put the oil filter and housing back on top of the motor. Now, I'm just hand tightening this filter housing back into place. I'm really apprehensive to over tighten these plastic components, especially because I live in a very cold climate where they tend to get brittle. But if you're interested in torquing this to spec, your filter should have the torque spec stamped right on top of the filter housing itself. With the filter back in place, we can pop back on our engine cover, and now our oil should be done draining so we can get back underneath and button up that oil pan. I want to take just another few seconds to marvel at this plastic drain plug. The camera work here doesn't really show how it's working. I mean, it is a screwdriver. It's just like one turn to seat this thing. But I'll give another picture here so you can see that there's a little notch on the bottom of the plug. That notch seats itself, and that lets you know that it's in place, that it's fastened. So it's impossible to over-torque this thing or to strip it out, because you just twist it, whatever it is, one turn, and it clicks into place, and it's all sealed up. Genius. Okay, with everything buttoned up, we can start filling the car with new oil. Now be careful here, the area under the oil filler cap is somewhat obstructed by this ledge. I'll show a picture here. That means if you were to dump oil directly into this, high probability you're going to overflow, spill everywhere. It's going to make a big mess. Also means you can't get a reasonable size funnel into the motor. You have to use a really small funnel like this one and pour very slowly. The engine takes 6 quarts, so throw 5.5 in, measure, top off as needed, remeasure until you get the right dipstick reading. Now that we've swapped out the oil, we need to reset the oil service reminder.